Welcome everybody to the Why Did It podcast with your boy, Dr. Walid and my boy, Osama Sakir. How are we doing today, Osama? How's things?
I'm good. I'm setting up a tent today because I'm going to be hiding from ChatGPT for the rest of the week.
You've been too involved in it. Tell me, fill me in about that. How's ChatGPT 4?
Yeah,
I hear you just basically got access to it.
I did. So I got access to the 4.0 ChatGPT, and it's quite interesting. It's a lot better than 3.5. Like, I don't think people realize how better it is. Mm-hmm. People say like it was a rushed move, but like it's way better than 3.5.
Tell us a bit more about that. How so?
So one thing that 4.0 and the paid plus member version allows you to do is like essentially scrape like URLs. So you can give it a link, and it can basically go to that link and take information out of it and give you an answer. It can take audio, it can take images, it can take a lot more things than a normal text-based only ChatGPT editor. So basically that gives it access to so many other things. And like even video transcriptions, it does that.
Really?
So it'll be pretty cool. I think it's crazy how one company is getting out like so advanced like algorithms. Compared to like, you got Google, you got Apple, like all of them have some sort of AI, but they're not competing anywhere near.
I feel like Apple is way behind with all this.
Well, yeah, they try to focus on Siri, and like honestly, instead of like letting I think the main problem with them is they kept everything like closed sourced, and because of that, there's no innovation that happens from outside of Apple. So
I think it's working against them now. Yeah, definitely.
It is.
Have you noticed? Sorry to interrupt. Basically, I remember when Siri first came into play, I remember I used to ask her basic questions and she was able to answer it. If I was to say like, tell me Kanye West's most, hit song or something like that. Now, when you ask a question like that, she'll say, I found an answer for you on the website. And she used to actually respond to you and give you some sort of answer, but it doesn't seem like she's doing that anymore. And I think it's because they don't have a connection maybe with the search engines and stuff. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's interesting because like I had a person who worked at like Amazon. I knew a guy, and he's like, we basically stopped that. What was it called? They had an Echo project, Amazon Echo.
Yep. I remember that.
Because basically like they weren't able to bring it up to the point where like I guess Bezos wanted it to, order things for you and be your assistant and sell you the smart home.
Yep.
Apple's kind of taken a similar ride. Like I do have a lot of Apple stuff. Like for me, even that light behind me is kind of connected to HomeKit, but in honesty, I never use I'm not going to say the word because she's just going to pop up, but I'm not going to use
You don't
that.
use it? I use it all the time.
I never use it. Like it's so terrible. Like honestly, it's so bad at like getting the right words. Like sometimes I'm driving, I'm like, hey, can you send like a text message? And it just messes it up. The only thing I'll use it for is to activate voice memos. And then I'm talking and person receives that voice memo and they can listen to it. But it's like, it makes me want to rush a message. So like I have to like, start like, hey, send a message, whatever. And I have to really get it out quickly. Because if I stop for 1 second just to think what I'm saying, it stops. It's like, that's not normal. Like that shouldn't be the way. It should still listen to you and say, hey, are you done? And complete and send a few messages. It's just so behind. I don't know. They've definitely dropped the ball in multiple things. Apple, like now that I'm dealing with them as a developer, it's mad. It's honestly so stupid.
Especially in this day and age, because like I said, I did notice like with certain commands, like I use her all the time for like, say, play music, turn the lights on, turn the lights off. She seems to respond all right with that. But when it comes to like asking her things that can be easily searched, Google Chrome seems to be much better with getting a response for you. But I think because it became such a closed network that it's working against them. And now that ChatGPT has come along, that's probably obviously going to dominate the market and all. But can you tell us a bit more about what ChatGPT 4 can do and like the difference between that, and is it worth actually paying the extra money to jump on ChatGPT 4, or should you just stick to the standard one?
Well, I mean, I think probably let's answer the first one. Is it worth paying for? I think at the moment, no, if you don't have anything that's like outstanding, like if you don't use it for professional work. I think if you do use it for professional work, you will have better output than the next person who does use it. So you will then compete with them on better output, better responses, more thorough answers. I think for that, like if I was a recruiter, if I was somebody in copywriting, marketing, I would pay for it 100%. Now, as for the average user, I don't think they should, not yet, because there's not enough plugins to justify it. But there's going to be a point where, my friend, which we might actually get him on the podcast at some point to talk about it, but he's creating this essentially like tool that allows you to use your database for integrating with ChatGPT. So instead of having old data, now you actually get new data based on your specific company or business or model. I think using that part of ChatGPT 4 is worth it. I think using it for video and stuff that's not currently offered by ChatGPT 3.5 is worth it. But for the general consumer who's not really going to use it more than just small questions and answers, I wouldn't pay for it. But it'll be interesting to see how the Bing kind of comes up, because I think they're using 4.0 and it's kind of free. So I'm not sure how that's going to basically incentivize people to pay for 3.5 or 4 when you have free Bing. Is it Bing?
Okay, well,
Bing?
it's Bing, yeah. So on that note, actually, the worst one is actually Google Bard, is it? That's the new...
I haven't tested it.
It just sounds so bad.
Bard.
Like, this doesn't roll off your tongue.
Google Lard.
Yeah, literally, it sounds like that. Now, the question is this, you said with the ChatGPT 4, now, can you use it? Say, for example, you have a website, okay, your own website, and you've been designing it yourself, and you've been writing your own blogs and all. Would you be able to paste your URL and then get it to do like a word search and like check for any spelling errors or even grammar errors?
Yes,
is that possible?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's actually really good, actually.
Will basically destroy things like, I think, will destroy things like Grammarly and other stuff once it gets to that point. And that's what I was telling you, like, there's a lot of softwares that come out there and they work their asses off trying to get like a good solution like Grammarly. And then like this thing comes around and scans the entire internet and knows everything and is like, whoop, you know?
It is sad.
Try
it
again.
Is sad, but like, you have to be aware of it. Yeah, no, 100%, definitely. And if they don't innovate or like, I don't know, it's dominating the market. Look, to be honest with you, I'm happy with that because it's going to be so useful to the consumer to use. And I think it combines, because otherwise, look, with all these new AI platforms that are coming out, this pretty much is like the mothership of them all. It just makes it so much easier, you know? So like you can easily ask it to, you know, paraphrase or, you know, do some grammar check on one thing. And then it can even like, you know, you can ask it to do you an itinerary for a trip overseas. So it just makes things so much easier. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to have so many subscriptions to so many different types of platforms. Whereas you've got one particular platform, yes, it's going to have the monopoly of it, but if it's useful for the user, I'm willing to use that instead.
Yeah, I think it has a lot of like room to reduce subscriptions, but don't forget that it is a subscription, and with those models, they always get more expensive.
Of course.
So it becomes a not feasible model for them if they want to keep it. But what I'm interested about is actually the spin-offs of ChatGPT, which is basically like now that ChatGPT was able to scrape all the data of the internet and then kind of funnel it down to like this tailored model. Now people are coming and stealing that tailored model and trying to train their own models on top of that. For them, it costs them nothing to do. Like it's like there was Stanford, I think it was Stanford or MIT. One of them had like an actual model that was trained in 6 hours, and it showed like really good, reasonable result. But all it was actually trained on ChatGPT. So it's like it's like if you build a house, you spend years trying to figure out a way of building a house. I'll come have a look, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go build my house. It takes me like 2 days. Took you 2 years because you've taken all the hard work. So I think it will give more room for competition and hopefully more like an open way of doing AI, which is kind of the original model they didn't get, you know, stuck into. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
Which is basically like, it's become the biggest topic of discussion these days, like talking to my patients. And to be honest with you, the consensus is that some people find it useful. Others are also obviously worried because it's going to take over a lot of jobs and all. My personal opinion is that if it can save you so much time, and I see it like Google in more of a human form, rather than Google, which spits out for you an answer. This one will talk to you about the answer and will give you more of a concise response. And it can save you so much time having to do all that research and everything. So people should actually, you know, jump on it and use it to their advantage. Because I know a lot of people are not aware of how powerful it is, and it can save them so much time from productivity perspective. And as you know, you and I are both very into productivity, and we want to make sure that we save as much time as possible. So it's going to, you know, eliminate and bypass a lot of mundane jobs and all. But has it reached a stage right now where is it capable of doing, say, for example, I know you got DALL-E 2, which is going to be the place where you can do graphic design and everything, but are they going to be on the same level as, say, you know how Adobe's got their own suite now where it's going to be AI, graphic design and all like that? Are they going to be taking that direction as well, you reckon?
So why do you want it?
It's good goddamn business. And if I don't buy it, someone else will, and that will be very, very bad for my business.
Sorry about that. Yes.
No.
Yes. I think I think it will replace some jobs. Like, there's no doubt. We had that conversation a few days ago. I think you and I over dinner, but I'm not sure. Like, I think with more models, there's going to be more competition. Just like the internet, there was a few sites that were selling one thing, and now there's a million sites selling everything. There'll be more competition. There'll be more. And there's no doubt about the fact that I believe there's a lot of jobs that will be replaced when somebody comes up with a better way. I think, for example, like customer service is an easy one to replace. I don't see how hard could it be, like for, in replacing a whole team with 3 people that can take over when the algorithm gets stuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even 2 people, 1 person, who knows? But like, I generally think that could be an easy way to like replace things. I think video editing, like a big one. I reckon there's a lot of like I'm using Descript to like change a lot of the podcasting audio and fix a lot of errors that we have. And even though it does use AI, it cuts through like, all the ums and buts and whatnot. So I think it's pretty good. Video editing, impressive. So photo, I think Canva's doing their own AI, so they already have the background remover and whatnot. But what stops them from like AI putting like our social media posts from Instagram and flipping it over to Facebook to blah, blah, blah. Like, and actually that's one interesting thing. I realized that Canva is missing one big thing. It's like,
what is that?
Every time they make something, it's like one dimension, like this is an Instagram post, and I could be wrong. Maybe they don't have the option. Maybe they do have it and never looked into it. But I reckon in that same project, they should allow you to create the post and the story and that in the same one. So when you download it, it downloads all of them together.
Yes, exactly.
But no,
it's
like
different formats.
You have to make a different project for everyone. I'm like, come on, Canva, you got this. Like, I have your T-shirt somewhere there. You should get on top of it. But no,
you were involved in the beta version, weren't you?
Yeah, and I got the duck. I have a duck.
Exactly, multi-billion-dollar company, and to thank you, they got you a duck and
a T-shirt.
But I gotta say, I do like Canva. Like, it really had simplified a lot of things in life, especially like, for example, the other day, creating a pitch deck, you could easily just do with there's so many nice formats there and all. I think one company that needs to take a page out of all of this is the Adobe suite, because it's so complex and a lot of people are jumping on, doing their own graphic design, trying to create their own content and everything, and they need to simplify it. And I want to give a shout out actually to Figma, because Figma to me was probably one of the best ones I've ever used in regards to simple graphic design and all. Exactly. And we know that Adobe is like, obviously is very technical, but they need to take that pathway as well, because otherwise they're going to miss out, So like, and I'm noticing like every program, every software is integrating AI. Like the other day I jumped on Wix as well. I was writing content and it just came up with a little bubbles like, AI, like an integrated content creating part. I didn't use it yet, but I can see that basically everybody's integrating that. So we just have to accept it. It's great. It's going to come along and we'll see where the future takes us from that. Did you hear about the company in China where they actually
Yes, I was literally going to ask you about it. I was literally about to ask you about it because like they've hired I think they put like one CEO was ChatGPT and then they had like another thing. But like what was it? I think it was CEO and CTO. Actually, let's look it up. I'm going to pull it up right now.
Yeah.
But no, they actually like replaced a few.
Like they trusted that,
And their stock boomed. Like they actually right after they did that,
it's true.
Their stock boomed like crazy boom.
Yeah.
But what I was interested on that note of China is like, have you seen that TikTok trial thing? Like the TikTok hearing?
Yes. Yeah.
Quite interesting. Interesting. What do you think about it?
Yeah. I think, what is it? There's a lot of controversy about it because obviously that it's not an American-based company. And America, obviously, they're pretty much anti-China. So when there's a company that's dominating the world in the social media platform, they're going to be against it. But let's be honest, which social media platform hasn't done what they're doing? It started off with Facebook.
It's literally Meta. Meta does that to every single company. Even Meta's trying.
Exactly.
Let's go through Facebook. Actually, let's put up. This is called the Facebook.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This is called the Facebook files. We'll just do this.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. The Facebook files. So first thing they do is if you can't beat them, you buy them. Right. That was perfect for like Instagram. Right. So they couldn't beat them, they bought them. This is like step number 1. Step number 2, if you can't beat them and you can't buy them, what do? Copy them.
You try and basically drown them or copy them,
Copy them. No, they copy them one-to-one. So that's Snapchat. They went to the founder of Snapchat. They're like, hey, we're going to buy your account, buy your thing. He's like, no, I'm not selling it. Immediately copied it. So the disappearing message, boop, they did the whole thing. Stories,
Exactly.
boop, they did the whole
Yeah.
thing. Then
Yeah.
they did the same thing for, who was it? I think it was Be Real. You know, Be Real, a photo, you take a picture in the background
Yeah, yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
They stole
Did
the
they do that
exact
as
same
well?
thing. Same, you can check it. Check your Instagram, take a photo.
Yeah,
you have
yeah,
a
no,
way
fair
to.
enough.
They couldn't steal like the actual no post without a post, because that's Be Real. Like you can't see
Yeah.
your friends until you post it. But what they
Yep.
did is they stole the actual one feature of it. And I
Yep.
think they tried to
Yep.
steal YouTube by doing the IGTV. Do you remember that? IGTV?
Yes, I remember. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so IGTV was kind of like
Interesting,
a way to steal from YouTube. And there was
Yeah.
one last one. What was it? I think it was the voice. Oh no, that was Twitter. Twitter did the whole stealing from, what was it called? That
The
thing
voice,
that
like
went up
TikTok.
in House Party? Have you been on House Party before?
I remember House Party. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that was like an
That was during COVID.
COVID, yeah. So what Twitter actually stole it 1-to-1, stole like House Parties,
Wow.
voice rooms, whatever. They stole it 1-to-1. So no, like if anyone can say stuff like American companies can't say
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
about it. It's just not possible. Like,
Yeah.
they've done that before.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously, yes, there's a lot of fear of using, obviously with now China competing with America, there's going to be a lot of
Yes.
tension built on that. And
Yeah.
I completely understand that. And they have every right to question it, especially in their own country.
Yeah.
Just like we have a right
Yeah.
in Australia to question what comes up in any other country. I completely
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
But in terms of
I think, to
innovation,
be honest with you, the onus is on the people. Like, my opinion on that one is, if you know that this is doing all this, I wouldn't want to jump on it. You know, I wouldn't want to be part of it or not. Like, look, for many years now, I haven't been using Facebook purely because it started off as a beautiful platform. Now it's become literally just a data grabbing platform, just taking literally all your information that I don't, unfortunately, you know, we have to use it, but I don't want to be part of it at all. And they're the worst. You know, Instagram is the same thing as well. We need a new social media that will just change the game, something that would just bring things the way it used to be, where you can actually just socialize with your family and friends rather than just being bombarded by constant, literally advertising. And but yeah, they'll, like, you know, Be Real. You know how you bought up Be Real? I don't think they're going to last much because they don't have a way to monetize it.
they can. I mean, they can always push ads for the people that don't want to like put their own photos up. Like you have to see an ad and then you see your friends. Like that's not hard for them to do.
But it's supposed to be an instant thing. So like right now, if you were both on it, you and I will get a reminder. We have to do it in that moment.
And that's what I mean. Like if you don't do it, then you have to see an ad instead. Like it could be like a reward system. Like there's nothing stopping them from doing it. But I do think like, I don't know, there's like a trend, right? Like it's when your grandma's on that platform, you're out, or your mom or dad is on the platform, whatever, whichever one, right? Like usually if your grandma started, you know, having Facebook, you're like, that's too old. And if it's the same thing with your mom and dad. So I think now that people, as mom and dads are on TikTok, kids are going to go out somewhere else. That's where Be Real came around. I think they came around with something that parents are too busy. They don't have time to post their own photos, you know, at their time that they want to. People have jobs, unlike kids.
Is it growing in numbers much?
I have actually, let's check it right now. I'm going to open mine and see if there's anybody on it. But then it's going to ask me to take a photo. I don't like that. See, first thing it wants is like send me notification. I'm like, I don't want that.
It's happening everywhere. Let's have a look here. So what's happening with Be Real? Let's see.
I'm going to check now if anybody's on it. Just kids. Everybody on it is literally kids. Literally.
Okay. So Be Real has 2.7 million downloads in the US, but those numbers have jumped up to about 20 million. So there's a lot of people using it.
Honestly,
it's interesting.
I'm telling you, whoever's on it at the moment are literally kids.
Yeah.
I'm just having a look. But that's the thing. Like kids eventually become the cool thing, and then next thing is everybody's on it. But it's not entertaining. Like it's just photos. So I think TikTok has its place, and I think YouTube is going to have to really grind it up to catch up with TikTok. And that's what they're offering. Now they're saying, hey, you know, we're going to monetize Reels. We're going to give you more money if you do Reels. Not more money, but like a better money than before if you do Reels and so on. So
if they do that algorithm instead.
But look, for you, you know which platform you and I love, and that's YouTube. So we
love YouTube, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I'm moving away from YouTube anytime soon. But in saying that, you never know. Like, there's always big companies.
Exactly. You know how they say you don't want to meet your hero.
Yes, you don't want to meet your hero.
But yeah,
actually,
look,
maybe you do. Maybe you do.
Well, yes, exactly. If they can help us 100% in the situation and all.
Yeah.
But in other news as well. So what's your thoughts on, you know, how Elon Musk is a little bit disappointed with the way ChatGPT's direction is heading, because he was obviously involved in the first part. But, you know, one side of him, he's anti AI being pushed so fast with the worry of like what it could do to, humanity. And then on the other hand, he's the one that introduced the blue tick with an extra charge. So, 1 minute he's, more fixated on finance. The other minute he wants to, save humanity and not push AI in the bad direction.
That's a perfect actually thing that I almost forgot about Facebook. They literally copied that verified thing from Twitter. They're like, oh, people can pay for verified.
Yeah.
Wonder what we can do next. Stole it.
Yeah, exactly. We're literally right now. So how much is it to take? $25 a month?
Australian.
Unbelievable.
And
you know what's funny is that people would know.
People are literally paying for
Really?
it. Like I had a friend that, I obviously won't say who, but like, he's literally like on it. Like, so I tried Twitter and I said that the last episode. I actually tried it. I canceled it this month. I'm like, it didn't make any difference. I just wanted to see by subscribing to it, would it make a better reach? Because to me, if it did, then it's worth it because it's cheaper than ads and I would pay for that. But it didn't. But in Instagram, I'm telling you, so far, 4 people I found that I'm like, oh, verified, cool. Like there must be like big shots. And then I go into verified. They're verified like end of March. I'm like, I see as a year.
So it actually tells you when they're verified. Yeah. To be honest with you, also, now, you're going to know that anybody who didn't have the tick and they got the tick now, they're paying for it. So like,
it's a bit pathetic, though. I don't know. I think it's a bit pathetic.
It is sad. It's a sad move. And I think I don't think it's going to survive, like only people who just want to get recognition from others will probably go pay for that tick. But I think from the perspective of it helping your business, I doubt it would do anything. Yeah, I mean, because look, let's look at it this way. We create a new Instagram account, okay, for our business. And if we just get a tick immediately, people are not going to care. People care more about the content that you're creating and they're going to care about the quality of your content and what you're going to be putting out there, So I think it's actually going to work against you to have that tick because people would think that, you're not genuine. You just try to buy your way through to try and get that verification. You know what I mean?
I agree, but I do think I have to admit that the people that were verified, when I saw like a story and somebody's verified, I had to click on their profile to see. But even now, like I'm still looking at it, like to see why are they verified to see like, and the minute you see like, oh, they're verified, but they only have like 10K followers. I'm like, doesn't sound about right. And then you look into it, and obviously they're not verified. But I do think that a lot of people are using it because it's like, oh, like I'd rather look verified than not verified. But it is stupid in saying that. And circling back to like the thing about Elon, look, I think he's the only reason why OpenAI is actually charging people money. So he has himself to blame. But because if you go back into the history of what happened, he pulled his money out when he already promised them that he's going to give them the money. So they needed some way of funding. And that's why they actually had to go into a paid model. So even though he can speak the high horse about AI, but if he really cared about it, he would have kept his money in it, not taken it out from the project because they just had to do whatever to survive. And he thought it was a conflict of interest with what Tesla's doing in AI to keep his money in it. So, yeah, man, I don't know.
There's only a couple of interests is probably Twitter because Twitter has probably taken so much of his time. That was a big distraction for him to.
And it's still not good, man. Like I wanted to say like it was better. I still think it's better to not censor people because I still think it should be an open voice. Like I don't think some company with a certain agenda should decide what you can and cannot post. I agree with that. But at the same time, 100%. Like, he still has some people not there. Like Kanye is still not there. So like.
Is he?
No, he's not. Well, he went back and he said some bad stuff about like some things that we won't talk about. You can have a look for yourself. But look, I don't like. Obviously Kanye is trying to push an agenda, and his agenda is obviously like he thinks that he's not. He hasn't been given a chance to explain himself or whatnot. And no matter what you think about Kanye, he's a great artist. I still think he's one of the best artists around and whatnot.
Definitely.
But
now,
in terms
the
of
thing is this, like, I thought Microsoft had a big play in the monetizing of the ChatGPT with Satya Nadella because obviously he's pushing hard to try and get it out there, and even the developers of ChatGPT.
Why did they go with?
Because they're trying to compete with the.
No, but Google, why did they even go with Microsoft?
Because they gave them a huge funding.
Yeah, they wouldn't have gone with Microsoft if they had enough funding to start with. You know what I mean? Like. The guy who made it is like a huge guy. Like what's his name? The ChatGPT founder?
Altman?
Sam Altman. He's the smartest guy. Like he's done plenty of.
Yeah, he was part of Y Combinator, but like he didn't make it. He was part of a group of geniuses. I think he's just a CEO.
No, but he was one of the first people to step down from like what he was doing and say, "Look, I'm going to go focus on this thing full time." And he doesn't. Somebody in his position wouldn't do that if he didn't see a huge upside. And clearly there was one. But I don't know, like, I mean, if you open the clinic, you and I open the clinic, and I tomorrow say, hey, Walid, I'm out, good luck. And then you go end up partner up with a bigger company to keep your lights on. Can I judge you for that? I don't think so. Like, obviously now.
No, I'm not judging them. Like, but I think this. So, like, I'll tell you this: if Google wants to beat ChatGPT, they shouldn't monetize it. They should pull out, because a lot of people right now are already on the Google platform. Okay, just like right now, you can't change and jump off Apple and go to Android. Okay, and if it was me, I would be encouraging everybody in the Google industry to basically create something as good as ChatGPT, but keep it free, because you already get people on the platform. And if you don't make it free, then people are going to jump ship and they're going to go to Bing.
Look, I agree with you, but I think you're not looking at the big picture here, where Google has everything to lose and small things to gain, whereas ChatGPT or OpenAI or even Microsoft Bing has everything to gain and not much to lose. Like, nobody uses Microsoft, not that I know about. So now everybody's, at least the browser. So now everybody's going back to the browser, right? Everybody goes like, when I install my Windows, the first thing I do is install Chrome. The first thing I do is install Chrome. Like,
you install Chrome and you make it your default browser. It is the funniest thing. That is literally the first thing every single person does when they buy a new computer and they get rid of.
I still use
Bing. Yeah,
I still use Chrome on my iPhone. Like, literally, I have Safari, and I know that Safari Safari is good for in-app stuff. But it's not good. But that's because they obviously make it. And look, I'm going to go on a specific rant about Apple Store later. But
we will talk about that.
Yeah, but like, look, I think like, forcing it onto people like that wasn't a great. It's like, remember when Apple launched the was it U2 album that put on everybody's? Do you remember that? There was
Apple 100%.
Yeah, I mean, like, nobody likes to be shoved something like that down the throat. No,
down the throat, exactly, 100%.
And that's basically what Microsoft says. Like, hey, we're gonna put all this bloatware on your Windows as you install it. You have to do it. And now they're like, well, we have this nice thing called Bing, and maybe you use it. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but. Chrome, like,
unfortunately, to be honest with you, all these companies have just taken the wrong direction when it comes to, like, they all, I think that all they worry about is monetizing everything, and if ChatGPT, I'll pay for it if it stays at a reasonable, price. But if they keep hiking up the prices and then there's a competition where Google's going to offer it for free service, I'll jump onto that, And
Google's been actually pretty good.
In today's economy.
Google's really good in terms of all of the other stuff. Like, Google has never asked you to charge you for a search. They never did. They show you ads, but that's fine. But that's fair enough. They've never done that. Your Gmail, have you ever had to pay for your personal Gmail? No. It's been running cleanly and perfectly, performance great. For as long as you've had it, never had an issue with it. Yeah. They've had some fails, which is like, they promised once where you bought the Pixel, I think you had unlimited photos or whatever, and they failed on that. And
unlimited storage for photos,
and they had that, what's it called, the social platform that failed as well. So they had their own like failures, successes. But when they said something's going to be free, it's rarely that they actually flipped on you and said it's not free.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, you're right. Yeah.
Whereas Apple,
which is great in that sense.
Apple does that. Apple gives you something for free and eventually takes it away. That's what they do. They give you like Microsoft micro USB if you have to pay extra for it. If they give you like.
Actually, yes, let's talk about that. That's one thing that's triggered me, It is like, obviously, Apple is the biggest company in the world. Worth how many trillion now? 3?
I don't know. Let's just keep it at 1 for reference.
No. They're worth a lot. Like, honestly, I think it's $3 million. Anyways, so obviously the EU has pressured them to finally have USB-C on all their devices, okay? And for years, they've been able to dodge that, and now they finally agreed to it. So what they've done, actually, if you buy the new iPhone or anything that's new phone where it's got a USB-C, if you don't use the proprietary cables, your recharge speed is going to be reduced, and you won't be able to charge at the fastest speed. So I don't know if you knew about that, So for example, if tomorrow you buy, because with the with their Lightning Bolt. So Lightning Bolt, obviously, they got proprietary on it, and any small company that makes a charging cable, they basically get royalty from it, And one of the biggest model was actually getting money from all these little companies producing all these little cords. And that's why they were fighting against the EU to change it to USB-C. That's why they're the last company to change their phones to USB-C. But now they figured out another way. All right, if you want to have USB-C, if you want to use the USB-C, you have to stick to our code so you can recharge it fully. Otherwise, we're going to drop down your charging speed. Do you know about that?
No, I didn't check that. Has that been official or not yet? Because
it's official.
They haven't launched
official.
the USB-C iPhone for what I know.
They haven't, but this is literally what's been doing, because obviously they're putting it out there for anybody who wants to give up. Let's say, for example, Belkin, if they want to create a new code tomorrow, they'll have to pay royalty to allow them to charge the phones at the faster speed. So they're controlling everything. That's the problem with Apple. Like, I'll be honest with you, like, this all started, I think, with Tim Cook, and Steve Jobs he wanted to innovate and produce beautiful products. Tim Cook now, I feel like they're losing their touch, they're losing their innovative quality, and they're just focusing more on monetizing every single aspect, you know,
and controlling
I don't like that.
Controlling
everything. Yeah,
I'm literally been going through the App Store, and like, for anybody who doesn't know, I'm developing an app and I'm trying to launch it soon, and I'll tell you all about it in another episode. But going through the App Store and trying to explain why, like, you're trying to publish an app, right? The app works perfectly on TestFlight, which is their testing platform, and you've seen the app. It's basically bug free.
Yep.
I'm trying to launch it, and they give you like these 4 reasons, right? And you're like, okay, reason number 1 makes sense. Reason number 2 makes sense. Reason number 3, oh, maybe you misunderstood that. I'll give you. Anyways, you fix them all up. Then they send you another list with new stuff. I'm like, why didn't you send me the whole list at the first beginning? So I can work on it. And every one of them takes a lot of time to make and a lot of time to justify. So like, it makes me wonder how many developers would go through this and say, you know what, screw this. I'm not going to even bother with Apple. I'm just going to go on Play Store because they don't have to ask as many questions. And if it doesn't work, people uninstall it anyway. So I don't see the need for them to like control. So for example, in-app purchases, right? I'm trying to create like an option for in-app purchases, but the website, the user that I have now is a demo. So clearly I'm not going to charge somebody from the demo. So I give them this demo user. I'm like, hey, this is the in-app purchases, way it will look, the way it will feel, the UI, the UX, and the actual instructions. They're like, well, now that you showed us this demo and it's not going through our Apple, which means you're trying to like go through an unauthorized third party. I'm like, no, this is demo content. I'm trying to explain to you that this is not charging anybody money. It's not going anywhere. Nothing. They want to control everything. They want to control your app, how much you pay. If you pay, you have to go through them. And if you have to go through them, they have to take 1/3 of the money. It's terrible. Like, I think it makes me want to go away from an app mode, but the reality of it is like most people will still want that app. So, and every time you pay for something on Apple, just remember the developer is getting like 2/3 of that money, which is like crazy. It's a lot of money to think about for something that's practically you've made. They just host it.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest with you, like, and I think sooner or later, it's just not going to work in their favor, you know? And I know, like, Apple is so powerful, but they're losing their roots and people are going to probably start shifting. If, say, for example, Microsoft starts taking over and, you know, this is literally the biggest thing that's happened since the internet, this ChatGPT and this AI. And if Apple's not going to keep up with that and innovate, and they're focusing so much on just revenue, it's going to bite them in the ass. And it's going to definitely, I think the tide's about to change. Well, it's April now, so the Apple new announcement is going to be coming up soon, the WWDC, and like we need to see what's going to come out, because in the past 5 years, nothing amazing has come out. You know?
No. They actually MacBooks were a good outbreak. Like, I think going from Intel to M1.
The chips.
Yes, that was a great innovation, but after that, nothing.
Yes. Yeah, of course. And look, in innovation or not, that was meant to happen. If it wasn't Apple, it was going to be another company, you know? So like, if anything, it was just Intel were too far behind that they didn't, improve their chips. And I don't think Apple did anything that was groundbreaking, but this ChatGPT, I think, is going to change the way of the world, and it's going to, shift things in a different way. I don't know if you heard about the new AirPods, what they're planning to do. they just patented.
I saw the patent.
Tell us
a little bit about it.
So basically, there's been talk that there's a patent, that there's a little D screen on the new possibility of AirPods being on there. I don't think it's a new idea, because I don't know if you know, I think JBL Audio already got particular headphones which actually got a little screen on it where you can control the music. But the thing about it is that music right now is all subscription based, and it all works off your phone. So it's going to be hard to, like, say, for example, you want to go for a run, you don't want to take your phone with you, but you got your AirPods case. How are you able going to stream music? So I don't know how good that's going to be and what the use of it would be, but it's pretty much just an iPod Shuffle.
Another gimmick. Literally another gimmick.
It's gimmicky. It's gimmicky. And
Have you ever tried to like go for a run with your Apple Watch?
No, I haven't. Like, yeah, tell me, like,
It's not great,
can
man.
you download music?
You can stream. Like, so the idea is with cellular, you technically have access to that.
Yeah.
You can take phone calls. You can do a lot of, but man, like it's not like they sync. Like sometimes you listen to a podcast and you try to go for a run and starts it all over again. It doesn't talk to your phone as good as I thought it would.
Yes.
And look, I still pay the whatever $5 a month for the cellular because it has served me when my phone has died that I can still make phone calls. I think that was great.
Yes.
I also think sometimes you can leave your phone behind in a workout and not be worried about who's going to call because you know you're going to get that connection. But man, I don't know. I don't know if I wanted like an AirPods case to be more than like I didn't even put my AirPods case with me. I put it back in the gym bag. So why would I bring it with me to a workout or?
And most people say that, we handle our headphone cases completely different to the way we handle our phone. We're more delicate with our phone. With the headphone cases, you pretty much just throw it and chuck it in your bag and all. So I think this is a sign that Apple is just,
lost touch.
They're running lost touch. Bravo. That's the best way to say it. I think they lost their touch because they just focus, like I said, rather than listening to the engineers or the innovators, they're probably listening to the sales team. And that's that's a sign where, the company's not heading the right direction. And that's exactly what happened with Apple back in the day. That's why they lost all their stocks and they had to get Steve Jobs back because they weren't listening to the engineers and the innovators. They were just listening to the sales force and they ended up, losing billions of dollars. So hopefully this will, force them to change and maybe we can, get more competition out there. And hopefully we'll start to work in the consumer's favor because right now we're pretty much slaves to all these tech devices.
It's true, man. It's true. Like I actually don't even use my AirPods as much as I ever did. Like I now have those bone conduction ones. I think it's called Aftershockz.
Yep.
Honestly, 10 times better. 10 times better because it's free. It's smarter than like it doesn't plug into your ears, so you can still hear around you. You can make audio calls with it. The battery is way longer than all the AirPods. It doesn't feel nice to lie on it. So if you lie on your back, it feels like it pulls on you. But aside from that, it's literally my go-to. And I don't miss my AirPods. Like I can go my AirPods without them for a week. But Aftershockz, I can go have a shower with them. I'm still listening to my audio. I don't know.
Is it clear?
It's fun. It's completely fun, man. Honestly, it's probably better than like AirPods in terms of like you're still aware of your surroundings. So it's similar to wearing those ones. Like, when you're wearing the old AirPods, they don't block your ears. Yeah. But I don't want it to block my ears. Like, I don't want to feel that pressure inside.
One thing that's like terrible about the AirPods, and I've got the new AirPods Pro, the second version. Till today, I don't know if you've noticed, you can go outside and they got this noise cancelling feature and basically the microphones can detect if there's loud noise and everything. So the problem with that is every time I go outside, if there's a little bit of wind, and if I'm talking to somebody, immediately it just muffles the microphone and nobody can hear you.
It does that to me as well.
All the time. And I'm like, it's actually really terrible. So say, for example, I leave work, okay, and I need to call my girlfriend. From the time I leave the actual office to get to my car, she can't hear anything that I say until I get in the car. It's actually a nuisance. And I thought they'll upgrade that and they'll fix that in the new AirPods, but they haven't. But yeah, I think what is it? We just need better competition out there. I know. These it's just the goddamn wire.
These are the almighty. These are the almighty. Honestly, this has been the great invention of Apple. This is it.
Can I be honest with you? Do you know what I think was the best? Not the AirPods Pro, just the normal AirPods. Because they worked really well.
They broke so often though. That little thing. They broke often
because they were flimsy.
Yeah, that little microphone at the bottom kept you can't even clean it, so it gets cloggy and disgusting. And when you try to clean it, there's a mesh that you have to clean around. And I don't know if you've seen those YouTube videos. I have, but it's so hard to clean. It's the stupidest design ever. But yes, they're way more comfortable than AirPods Pro. 100%.
Have you tried washing it? Nah, jokes.
You can't. I wish you can. I would 100%. I'd put in bleach if I could.
Do you know what I find also annoying? Okay, at nighttime, I always love to jump on YouTube or watch something, and I'm lying on the side because I sleep on the side. They get so annoying, and I don't know if you know, but when you have a bit of pressure on the AirPods, it just muffles the noise and everything. So I have to take one of the ears out, and I'm just lying on one side, and then when I flip to the other side, I have to swap it. So somebody needs to invent some really, really small, tiny AirPods or some sort of headphones that can go into your ear. They wouldn't feel them, and they wouldn't come in the way when you try to lie down.
If Aftershockz created something that goes around your ears, but just hooks into them like this, they'll dominate the market. I'm telling you, they're so comfortable. Like, you have no idea how easy it is to wear. Like, I have AirPods normal, AirPods Pro. I've had plenty of other things that go in your ear. Once it's not in your ear, it's 10 times better.
Understandable. Well, there's a lot of technologies to be made, and I think the only thing that's going to be concerning is the world the way the world's going with the microchips. Hopefully, things will start to get better. There's talks that obviously India is going to be the new China, the new Silicon Valley. So well, hopefully, that will start to go down because, as you guys know, I'm trying to develop a hardware device and I need those prices to go down. So, but yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I'd rather we make them. Like, I'd rather Australia,
100%.
America, like, I'd rather they make them than other countries. Like, all they're doing is just seeing the whole story happen one more time, one in another place. Like, obviously the reason China became China or Taiwan became Taiwan is the fact that we outsourced into them. But now with the improvement of AI and stuff and robotics, like, I don't see why we can't streamline a microchip that we can make ourselves. That way we can control it.
The government.
Well, it is. It's 100% the government. But like, we spend more money on stupid stuff. Like, come on, like, a few $1 billion for like a tunnel here and there. Like, we can make them. The thing is, it's not a priority. And now they're trying to push the whole carbon neutral, whatever, by still outsourcing to other countries. And like, I don't know. Like, I know it's getting dicey in this conversation, but I still think we should go back to 100%. Doing things ourselves. Yeah. I would rather buy a t-shirt made by the same country because that way the money circulates around. You're not support getting the money out to another country. Exactly. Make things that we people want. And I think whether it's America, USA, UK, Europe, Australia, like countries should start.
That, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't want another superpower to control that. Australia needs to become self-sufficient, and we've got so much resources and we've got so much ability to be able to dominate in so many different things. One of the biggest things we're dominating is agriculture. We're good at that. But unfortunately, when it comes to technology, we're really far behind. And we definitely need to be investing more into that. And I think, if we can speed up where Australia is, if we were to build things in-house, and that will support the country and put us in a completely different position. But unfortunately, we're not self-reliant. We're relying on, China for everything. We also, what happened with COVID, from a doctor perspective, like, I couldn't believe that there came a time where we actually couldn't have surgical gowns and we couldn't buy surgical gowns because everything was made in China. They had to, limit how much you could actually keep at hand or even order in. And it was a huge wake-up call. And I hope maybe this would actually change the direction where Australia is heading, because we have to. Something is going to give.
It's true, man. There was a point that at the clinic, I couldn't get masks. I tried to call the National Health telephone and try to ask for this stuff. There's none of that. So let's hope we go back to making things ourselves. I think people are still okay paying it just a little bit more for something that's inside. But you know what's an easy way to fix this? Just tax those things less. Just, you want to make them in-house,
about it.
Just tax them less a little bit, right? Like, if something in-house, tax them less than something from outside. Bam, you've solved a big problem. But
exactly,
I don't know. Who knows? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below, and hopefully we'll get to see you in the next video. And I hope you liked this. I hope it wasn't too serious for you guys, but we are still posting every fortnight. So please hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube, and please follow us if you're watching this on Instagram. All the other ones that the Apple, Spotify, all the above. Find us. And if you have anything, just get in touch with us on Twitter or on the actual channels, and we will be in touch.
Exactly. Great podcast, Osama. Thanks for your time. And I guess we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time as well. Thank you so much, guys.
See you then. Bye-bye.
See you later, brother.